Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. I'm delighted to have as our guest the Commandant of the Special Task Force, DIG Waruna Jayasundara, who is of course an attorney at law as well. The Special Task Force celebrating 40 years of wonderful service. Very good evening to you, DIG, and welcome to the program.
Good evening to you.
And many congratulations to your force on marking the 40th anniversary of your setting up.
Yeah, today we mark the 40th anniversary, starting from 1983 March 1st.
A lot of people probably don't understand why. What is the STF? What is the objective of setting up the STF when you have a police force anyway?
STF, of course, we are the paramilitary trained,
Right.
specialized trained armed wing of the Sri Lanka police.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all are police officers,
Right.
but we are specially trained in counter-terrorism operations and subversive activities, curtailing them.
And how different is the STF or the police mindset from the military mindset? What's the difference between a police force and the military?
Actually, even in the concepts, it's different.
Right.
Police officers are basically the frontline officers.
Right.
And military, they are like third responders in a context like Sri Lanka, because we are the second responders.
The first being the police?
Police, of course.
Okay.
So police officers, including the STF officers, we all are trained in maintaining law and order and public order management. So military, basically, they are there to protect the country in and anything to do with threatening the national security.
So would it be fair to say that when the military comes in, everybody's a suspect, and you need to get rid of them because the security of the land is at stake? Whereas when the STF comes in, they're more police than military, and so there's a difference. They know how to maintain the public order. Would that be a fair sort of?
Yeah, it's a good definition, because when we go back to the inception of the STF, and they wanted to get the police officers into a specialized unit, so 60 hand-picked officers were given the military training way back in 1983.
This is at the setting up of this.
Of the STF, yes. So we all are police officers trained in maintaining law and order, but given a paramilitary training and handling in sophisticated weapons and more training into curtailing terrorist activities.
So the objective at the time of setting this up, the STF up, was what? To bring some sort of military or some specialist knowledge in counter-terrorism?
In fact, there are reasons of formation of STF. The main incident way back in 1971, during the southern insurgency, police stations were attacked by the insurgents, and 37 police stations were captured by the insurgents.
Right.
Then when it comes to 1976, the northern insurgency started, where the LTD, they killed the Jaffna mayor, and then with the journey, then they started to rob banks.
Right.
And then they went up to the extent of killing Tamil police officers,
Right.
and attacking police stations in the northern peninsula.
Okay.
So there was a commission appointed with the chairmanship of former Minister Mr. Subasinghe. One of their recommendations was to form a specialized military trained unit within the police. That's how, when it comes to 1983, 60 hand-picked officers were given specialized training by the Sri Lanka Army.
Right. And so over the years, now you have the breakdown in some areas of public order in the north and so on. the conflict area. And as the years went by, the end of the war, or the end of terrorism, basically, in Sri Lanka. And how has your objectives evolved through to the Yapalina government and now?
Actually, starting from 1983 to 2009, May 19,
Yeah.
and we had a conventional war. They are basically in Ampara and Batticaloa districts. We were engaged with counter-terrorism operations in 3 phases of Elam war. Then with the post-conflict scenario after 2009, basically we were, now we had our camps in Batticaloa, Ampara districts. Then we were asked to move into all the districts in the country. At present we are having 74 bases in all the districts, but during the conflict we were basically operating in Batticaloa and Ampara districts and in Vanni. So basically now we are assisting the police in maintaining law and order. And by 2015, basically now we are grooming into a much more professional police force as a second responders, where the police are the first responders. And basically we are under the Sri Lanka police, under the IGP. So it is part of the police.
And so it would be fair to say also that whilst all our forces in Sri Lanka are disciplined, the STF is a specialized disciplined unit. And the story goes that even the LTT would rather deal with the STF than any other force. But why does that happen?
The thing is, it's basically the initial training, and we handpick men.
Right.
And we are not going for the quantity.
Okay.
We just go for the quality.
Okay.
And people, they have so much faith on the STF and so much love towards the STF. So it is starting from the training, we go for the best, and we give them one of the best trainings in the world. Even starting days, we were trained by the British SAS, that is British Special Air Service.
Yeah.
And with their grooming and the induction, now we get the best boys into the force and we give them the best training. And before everything, we make them police officers.
Okay.
And with that police background, we give them the military and a much more high-skilled training and make them into a paratrooper.
And DRG Jayasundara, how do you work in a situation when there are shared responsibilities? You have the army, you have the regular police. When does the STF, when are they called into action?
Actually now, under normal circumstances, we work along with the police. And basically there are police stations throughout the country, and there are more than 600 police stations, well as 74 STF bases. But we all are under the Ministry of Public Security, then the Secretary and the IG.
And so who's your boss, the IGP?
IGP. I directly report to the IGP.
I see.
And if it's a minor thing, like where the local police can handle, then we don't get involved.
Right.
But if it goes beyond the purview of the normal police, then under the directions of the IG, we get involved and we start assisting the police. And most of the breaking of law and order, police and the STF, we are in a very good position at current context to control it.
And how strong is the force now? What's the size now?
We are nearly 8,000 at the moment.
So 60 has come to 8,000?
Yes.
All trained?
All trained.
Right. And this training and so on has resulted in some benefits. What is your international ranking for the STF in Sri Lanka?
There are 2 rankings, and recently we were ranked as the second best specialized police unit in the world after SFG 9 in Germany. And there's another ranking that we have ranked the 10th place but that involves the units in Europe, Canada, US, and in Southeast Asia. But we are number 10th in that ranking. But we are ranked as the best paramilitary unit in Southeast Asia and South Asia.
Well, you know, I'm sure Sri Lanka is proud of all that, because it's very good. And is it very expensive to train an officer?
Yes, very expensive, because it's the level of training that we give to them, and that involves a lot of money. But it gives the return back to the society, because it's that we basically focus with the quality and not the quantity, and it costs some money, but it pays back to the society by getting a good officer on ground.
And is there a minimum term then? How do you
Yes.
control the churn rate?
That's compulsory 8 years service.
Right.
But after the basic training, there are many specialized trainings that we put our boys in their journey within the STF. I have paratroopers, that is parachuters, and then we have one of the best riders, specialized rider teams, where even in Colombo, whenever there's a shooting, something like that, you see the STF motorbikes. Then I have the SWAT, that is Special Weapons and Tactics. That is a common norm in world policing. So I have SWAT teams, like if there are going to be a hostage situation, say that we are going to have a lone wolf attack in Colombo, then of course the STF SWAT will get involved. Then other than that, I have the small teams, which are known as the cheetah teams, consisting of 8 boys, and they have the capacity to survive in jungles for more than 2 weeks, and they can trek into many kilometers. Especially in Uber province, they are involved with destroying local ganja cultivation and protecting the environment and forest reserves, that is Vilpattu, Singharaja and Vanni, and of course even Yala. My small teams are operating, protecting the environment.
Oh, I'm sure the environmentalists out there will be delighted to hear that. And you also protect your patrol in the jungles, do you, if you were thinking that somebody is trying to look for treasure and that kind of thing?
Yeah, we dominate the jungles of Sri Lanka, and we have forest cover of like nearly 20%. And it's basically the illegal hunting, where we have the natural environment, illicit tree felling, then illicit land, soil excavation, then sand mining, and well as the forest clearing. And every year, like we arrest more than 200 detections every year.
Okay.
And during the last 2 years, we detected more than 300 acres of illegal forest clearing. So we are operating in jungles, in deep jungles, protecting the Sri Lankan forest cover well as the natural habitat. And
we're fast approaching a break, but we'll be asking the Commandant of the Special Task Force, the STF, who's celebrating 40 years today, their anniversary of being set up, DIG Waruna Jayasundara. I shall be asking him why in certain parts of our country's history public order broke down, and what his perspective is from the point of view of the STF. On that note, let's go for a quick break and listen to the headlines from the Primetime News team.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Trade unions launch joint movement against tax regime, salary anomalies and medicine shortage. President's Director General on Trade Unions says the strikes and protests failed. Professionals warn that if no solution is provided, continuous strikes will be in effect from next week. Hold free and fair local elections without delay. US Senate Foreign Relations Committee tells Sri Lanka. Rupee makes steady appreciation. Kerosene prices reduced.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with DIG Waruna Jayasundara, attorney at law, who is also the commandant of the Special Task Force, the STF, celebrating 40 years of service here in Sri Lanka. So, DIG Jayasundara, we have breakdown in public order. We've had that. Then we have an ongoing problem with drugs. And I'm now told that there's a increasing issue with illegal weapons. How's the STF tackling these?
A very good question. At the moment, we are vested with the main responsibility of curtailing the drugs and curtailing organized crimes and illegal weapons. So we are basically focused with the fighting the weapons as well as the drugs and the underworld. So during the last 2 years, we have arrested more than 1,000 weapons, and that includes like more than 30 T56 weapons and more than 50 pistols and more than 25 revolvers. Why I say the importance of taking the weapons out of the organized criminals, whenever there is an illegal weapon, there's a tendency for someone to go and pick it and make a bank robbery or a murder. So Sri Lanka is not manufacturing automatic weapons. So we have focused with arresting illegal weapons in the country and well as curtailing the organized crimes. So, and of course the drugs menace. And during the last 2 years, we have detected more than 216 kilos of heroin and more than 4,800 kilos of Kerala ganja, of course, which is coming from the southern part of India, and destroying the local ganja cultivation, cannabis, in Uva and southern provinces. Till today, during the last 2 years, we destroyed 268 acres of illegal cannabis cultivation.
Okay.
And other than that, the ice, which is known as methamphetamine, which is a big menace at the moment. So we are not mainly focused with the street level drug dealers, drug users, and we are basically focused with the big fish.
The distributors?
Distributors, of course, and with the prevailing conditions, and we are just going after the big fish and the big drug dealers.
Have you had much success?
Yeah, of course. Now, once we got a boat with more than 200 kilos of heroin, and most of the arrests now it's like more than 500 grams or more than 1 kilo of heroin.
Okay.
And then we hand over them to the Police Narcotic Bureau for further investigations. And Kerala ganja, of course, and not only the drug menace, but the foreign revenue that we are using, because we have to pay to the foreign smugglers to get the heroin well as the Kerala ganja. And ice, of course, there's a big health impact on the health of the people who are using. And then altogether it's the illegal weapons, organized crimes and drugs that we are going after at the moment.
And tell me, thank you very much for your questions, by the way. 0772 300 305. Card should come up on your screen. 0772 300 305. Somebody's asking us from Gaul, what happens to the drugs that are the drugs that are recovered in operations? What happens to the drugs?
Actually, we take the drugs into our custody and we make them the productions. Where we seal it. Actually, we just measure it, the weightage, because you know, possession of 5 grams of heroin, pure heroin, and it gives you the death penalty.
Okay.
So
we have very tough rules in place.
On drugs, yes. Even with ice, methamphetamine, now it has been listed with the latest amendment.
Right.
So more than 5 grams, it's the death penalty. And whatever we arrested, we immediately produce them to the courts. And that will be in the court custody. And we then send it to the government analyst for process, because by looking at a powder, we can't say it's heroin. The government analyst, they are the expert to give the opinion, the weightage of pure heroin.
And what happens eventually after the? I mean, I know that the judicial system is unfortunately slow in our country, but that's a different subject. But what happens to the drugs at the end of the day? Does it get regularly destroyed, or what happens?
Yes, now the drugs are in the courts, in the custody, and which are with the government analysts, they are in the safe custody. And after the conclusion of the court, the case, that will be destroyed in the presence of a magistrate.
Right.
So it's not like that's going to come back to the society,
No.
but basically that will be in a very regulated mechanism that will be overlooked and in the custody of the judiciary.
Right. And there are checks and balances, is it, to make sure that somebody is not taking this through the back door?
Yeah, there were allegations, and a couple of, even some police officers were arrested at the Police Narcotic Bureau. But strict rules are there, and anybody who's playing with drugs will be dealt as per the law. So I can say whatever the drugs arrested are kept in safe custody, and that will be destroyed after the conclusion of the case.
And just what's the numbers, the drug-related numbers in prison? Are we winning the battle? Are they getting less? Are they getting more?
Actually, now when it comes to number, now at the moment Sri Lanka, there are 126,000 heroin drug users in the country. That's not ganja users. But majority who are under the death penalty have been convicted for drug smuggling. So there's a number there who are waiting to be executed. And because with the money involved and the system that is involved and how well that they are organized and the lucrativeness has paid for many to get into the business, and it's a well knitted, not only for Sri Lanka, it's a world menace, this drug smuggling. So basically it is a challenge for law enforcement officers. It is to get the people who are with the business and get them arrested and clearly prosecuted and to convict them.
And you're an attorney at law as well, and you have your police background. You're now the commandant of the STF. What's your take on the death penalty?
Actually,
is that a necessary evil?
Yeah, I believe, because if you take Singapore, they carry out the death penalty, and compared to other Asian countries surrounding Singapore, the circulation is very minimum. But there are plus and negative points on the capital punishment. But we have a very good judiciary system, and with the assistance that we get the Attorney General's department, and many cases that we managed to get the highest the penalty for the drug smugglers. It is a must, because as a country we have to get out of this menace to save our future generations.
Several questions from the public. Why do you think the Aragale happened, the breakdown in public order? That's the question.
Actually, it was a social economic factors, I think, contributed the public disturbances. And the police, as the first responders, we encountered the public disturbances not only with last year incidences. During the history, those disturbances are coming and going. It is the people, they have under the Constitution, under the Article 14, the people, they have the right, freedom of expression and freedom of assembly. But with the restrictions imposed under the Article 15. So it was a challenge for us with the police and the STF.
Did it get out of hand? Some people are texting saying it got out of hand.
No, basically now most of the cases we managed to control it, and now majority of the STF, of course, we never fired a bullet to control it. With the police and the STF, our presence, with the assistance provided by the three forces, and we managed to maintain the law and order, except a couple of incidences.
The questions are long, and there are many. They are all asking about what do you feel? We'll ask, there's only one way of asking this question. Do you feel that when you tried to regain public order, do you think that your treatment of the public was that consistent with your policies, or was that a bit over the top?
Actually, there are rules and regulations laid down. If it's a peaceful assembly, the people, they have the right for peaceful assembly. But with the penal code section 138, it says how a peaceful assembly can turn into unlawful assembly. That is wrong. That is punishable under the rule of law. And under departmental orders of the Sri Lanka Police, section A19, so it specifically described the way that the police officer should handle a public disturbance or unlawful assembly. And so even with the STF, we all are trained and taught about maintaining law and order and public order management.
And DIG Jayasundara, just as we come towards the end, now we are 2 minutes away, how do you see the role of the STF in the next 15 years?
Now we are proud with our positioning and our service to the nation. So with utmost faith on us by the public, and with all the love towards the country, and we, the STF, will go out of the way to protect the national security and our motherland and the territorial integrity of this country. And also we will go out of the way to fight against drugs, illegal weapons, and the organized crimes. So it's going to be a tough and a challenging path to keep and maintain our status. So we are going with the technology. We have put up more technology and equipment into our machinery, and it is going to be a technically and high equipped battle with time to come, and especially with like the isolated ISIS attacks and the current context, the public order management, and the ever-changing dynamics of international terrorism. So it's going to be a tough challenge, but I'm very much confident the STF along with the police, and we'll be able to tackle any form of challenge that comes against the country and for the
in your battle against drugs and illegal weapons. Would you like to see far more patrolling of our coast?
The Sri Lankan Navy is doing a tremendous job protecting the territorial waters.
Would you like to see them doing more, that there's more resources?
They are doing it very good, I mean very methodical way. But it's basically that the intelligence that we get, that will make the change and the difference. So it's the technology and the well-read and well-fed intelligence will make the difference.
DIG Waruna Jayasundara, the Commandant of the STF, on behalf of our network, many congratulations on the 40th anniversary, and the public too. We wish you all the very best in keeping the public, the Republic, the people safe and sound.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I wish you all the very best.
Thank you. That's the way it was, ladies and gentlemen, on Newsline Live with DIG Waruna Jayasundara, the Commandant of the STF, celebrating 40 years of service today. It's now time, of course, for that wonderful other program, which is the Primetime News. Take care, and as always, God bless you all.